This is the Life is Easy, Life is Good video blog, and this is the 28th video. So last week I just asked a very sobering question for all of us to ask ourselves, or to pray to the person that we pray to, or just ask within our higher self to really look for a discovery or an answer or an illumination to what is blocking us from receiving all of the goodness that life has for us so that we're able to enjoy our lives. And that question is how do you usually respond when something negative happens? And what do you usually think about, or what do you usually do in a bad situation, whether it's another person offends you, or somebody is trying to take advantage of you, or somebody is trying to hurt you, or if it's just a situation. It maybe not be coming from an actual other person, but it may just be a difficult situation that really just is causing you to be frustrated or causing you to be upset, and you really don't know why it's not resolving itself, or why it's not actually turning into a positive for you. Just anything that would cause you to be frustrated or depressed. How do you usually respond in that situation? So when I asked my higher self that, when really just within my own heart, just in my own alone time, asked myself why I do what I do when something negative happens, or what I actually do when something negative happens, what I heard in my heart was that I actually try to make an effort to make sure that it never happens again. So if anybody hurts me, or if anybody offends me, or if anybody is aggressive towards me, or if there's a negative situation that befalls me just from circumstances, I really go into overload trying to figure out how to make sure that that thing never ever happens again. And what that does is it actually has a negative effect on me, is because it causes me great stress to really be able to try to sit down and think about how to fix that problem for myself. But the other thing that it does is it really just causes me to put out an energy that I'm going to fix this on my own. I'm not going to allow the source of my life, or I'm not going to allow the goodness of life to just solve this for me and allow me to cooperate with the source of my life. So that's a common mistake that I make. So whatever that is for you, when you asked yourself that question, did you receive clarity on that, or did you receive a illustration on how you respond when something negative happens, and why you do that same thing, or that typically do that same thing when something negative happens? And what we can do in response to that is really just ask ourselves a secondary question. And it's also a kind of sobering question, but asking ourselves these questions and receiving the answers to them is really the beginning of the process to opening up ourselves to receive goodness from life, or from God, or from the universe. And the second question is are you suspicious about life being amazingly good to you? And what is the source of your suspicion? So the source of my suspicion was believing that there was a third party between me and the Creator. And that's what I just define simply as religion. And this religion can be, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, and even Christianity. And a lot of people define Christianity as a relationship with God, but Christianity can very well much be a religion as well, because it can play as a third party between a connection between you and the Creator, or the source of your life. And if you feel that it's necessary for you to do rituals or to obey certain rules in order for you to please the Creator, then that's what I define as religion. But what I've come to realize is that, first of all, our source is not hesitant, or our source is not actually reluctant to bless us. It's actually our source, our Creator, is very eager to bless us. In fact, it's looking for an opportunity to just fill our lives up with goodness, with the feeling of joy, not so much material things, but just with an inner feeling of enjoyment of life and pleasure and gratefulness towards life, and bless us with that. And how we can cooperate with that is just, number one, realizing that God is not against us. God is not reluctant. God is not hesitant. And this was an image of God that I had growing up, was that God, whenever he got pissed off at me for very, minor infractions, there was a wall up, or there was a cold shoulder, or I had to do certain things to try to gain his favor back. And what I realized was that, no, God is actually not running from us. God is not hiding from us. God is not an invisible, intangible source that we need to chase after. God is always with us. And my definition of God is just simply love. Love is always with us. The feeling of an amazing connection to a love of our life and a love of others is always with us. And that's not something that we need to actually try to do to please. And so the cause of my suspicion was believing that there was a disconnect, that my source was hesitant or reluctant to bless me. And once I realized was that my source was actually eager to bless me, that opened me up to really realize that it's my birthright. It is my almost natural. It is my natural inheritance to really experience overwhelming joy and witness goodness unfolding as a result of knowing the source and the creator for myself. So one last thing I really just wanted to ask us all to do is just whatever the answer to that question was when you asked yourself, what do I usually, how do I usually respond in a negative situation? Just give yourself some time to pause and let that come to you. And once that does come to you, just one last step is be willing to give it up. Just be willing to give it up, or even ask for a willingness to give that up, because we no longer need to rely on our own self-preservation, our own self-protection from being offended by other people, from being attacked by other people, being disappointed, or being hurt. And that's really the main root and foundation of what's stopping us from receiving all that the universe is eager to give us so that we enjoy and love our lives. So the universe is eager to give us everything that would cause us to enjoy our lives. And sometimes that's not everything that we ask for. A lot of times it's not everything we ask for or desire. But our truest, deepest needs that will really open us up to love our lives will begin to unfold and overlap each other into and we'll begin to see those things come in abundance into our lives, and not so much material things, but from the inside out. We'll experience an inner joy and an inner love about life, more than we ever imagined that we could once we let go of our own self-protection. If we are the only ones that's doing for ourselves, and I used to tell myself that a lot, well, if nobody else take care of me, I'm going to take care of myself. And to a certain degree, that was healthy to kind of break certain bad relationships. But we really have to be willing to let go of that self-preservation of taking care of ourselves, and let the same force that wanted me to exist as a human being and placed me on earth and really get on purpose created me and on purpose, caused me to exist and be aware of my connection to that source, is the same source that is going to take responsibility for me if I allow and trust that same source to be the source of my life. Not just in physical existence, but more so the source of our daily experiences. So the idea is to experience life as too good to be true, but when we are pleasantly surprised by goodness in our lives, not to think that it is too good to be true for us, but to know that every good thing is truly specifically thought up by our source and given to us with pleasures just to see us smile, just so that we can enjoy life, just so we can have an enjoyable experience in the same way we do for our children. So let us smile and let us take pleasure in our lives as we dance with the source that gives us life. And really, that's all that life is. It's just a beautiful romantic dance with the source of our lives. And we can embrace every single good thing that our spiritual parent is freely offering to us. And as we trust our source and really let go of our own self-preservation, we'll begin to realize that our source won't disappoint us. And I think that's what we're really afraid of, why we're hesitant and suspicious of good things, which is the answer to the second question I asked. For me, is that I've been disappointed by so many humans that I'm also afraid that I might be disappointed by my source. But that's impossible. We can never really be disappointed by our source, and we can open ourselves up and really not feel that tension when we're trying to protect ourselves from harm. So that's all for now. I'm going to continue this idea of that all blessings and goodness are specifically meant for us to enjoy. As I said, this is the last chapter of the book, Life is Easy, Life is Good. And that's going to be available on Amazon. You're going to be able to buy a hard copy. And then if you connect with me online, either through Facebook or through Twitter or through our YouTube page, Life is Easy, Life is Good, you can request a free copy. All electronic copies will be free. So I'll email you a PDF for free. And if you so desire, you can actually buy, if you have a device like an iPad or a tablet, you can buy a copy of the book, or you can buy a hard copy of the book when it's released. So if you've been inspired by these videos, just know that the book will be released here soon. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Peace.